G'day, welcome to our Christmas 2016 series, Jesus Now, looking at Christmas through a different lens. Instead of using the normal lens of expectancy, we are looking through the lens of the consequences of Jesus' birth. We are at the manger scene. Let's go on to learn about Joseph. This is a record of the ancestors of Jesus the Messiah, a descendant of David and of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz was the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon, whose mother was Bathsheba, the widow of Uriah. Solomon was the father of Rehoboam. Rehoboam was the father of Abijah. Abijah was the father of Asa. Asa was the father of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat was the father of Jehoram. Jehoram was the father of Uzziah. Uzziah was the father of Jotham. Jotham was the father of Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Hezekiah. Hezekiah was the father of Manasseh. Manasseh was the father of Amon. Amon was the father of Josiah. Josiah was the father of Jehoiakim and his brothers, born at the time of the exile to Babylon. After the Babylonian exile, Jehoiakim was the father of Shealtiel. Shealtiel was the father of Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel was the father of Abiud. Abiud was the father of Eliakim. Eliakim was the father of Azor. Azor was the father of Zadok. Zadok was the father of Achim. Achim was the father of Elihud. Elihud was the father of Eleazar. Eleazar was the father of Mathan. Mathan was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary. Mary gave birth to Jesus, who is called the Messiah. All those listed above include 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the Babylonian exile, and 14 from the Babylonian exile to the Messiah. Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 to 17. Joseph's the quiet man of the story, but he's also a spiritual person who wished to live his life and make his decisions in accordance with God's will. Jewish society at the time had an arrangement for approaching marriage called betrothal. It was a kind of engagement period in which the prospective bride and groom lived under the same roof, but they did not consummate their relationship sexually. That was reserved for their wedding day. Mary was pledged in this way to be married to Joseph. It's likely that he was older than Mary, as there is no mention of him during Jesus' adult ministry. Joseph's role was secondary to Mary's. Nevertheless, it was an important one. It was also a dangerous role he had to fulfill. First of all, there was the possibility of public rejection and stigma of Mary's pregnancy during the betrothal period. He would have been accused of being the father. Then there was the need to travel for registering at Bethlehem, followed by the flight into Egypt when King Herod went on the rampage at the suggestion of a king of the Jews being born. And finally there was all the caring and providing for all the family's welfare needs once back safely in Nazareth, a town that had its own social problem. Sometimes Joseph is called the caretaker father of Jesus, given the responsibility of protecting and providing for God's Son for as long as was necessary. Joseph had some fine spiritual qualities, and the ones we'll look at now is of sensitivity. Joseph was sensitive to Mary's needs. He'd heard her side of the story, but even so felt it necessary to divorce Mary because of her apparently improper behaviour. But he didn't want to expose her to public disgrace, being, as Matthew puts it, a righteous man. Being righteous can sometimes carry a hard edge to it, but not with Joseph. With him it carried a sensitive understanding of Mary's situation. That may suggest that he wanted to believe her story, but had no way of verifying it. Whatever, Joseph was clearly sensitive to Mary's needs. He was not consumed with the selfish and self-justifying attitudes that characterize so much marital and premarital discord in our day. Joseph was also sensitive towards receiving and responding to God's messengers, and beyond that, to God himself. When Gabriel came in a dream and confirmed what Mary had told him, Joseph did not hesitate to accept about her and her condition, respecting the situation fully so that there would be no interference with what God was bringing to pass. His sensitivity is described as he took Mary home as his wife, but had no union with her until she gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus. It is interesting that most of Joseph's guidance came through dreams. Clearly that was right for him in God's will, but the only certain way to know God's will for our lives is to be familiar with the teaching of the Bible, letting experience confirm it in practice, and we're to be sensitive to God speaking through his word. Joseph was sensitive to the situation in which he too was placed and wanted to do only what was right in God's eyes. He didn't let the world squeeze around him, squeezing it into his shape. Joseph's actions were not dictated by other people's views of what constituted right conduct. Quite the reverse. Joseph took decisive action as a man of faith and principle. Joseph did what the Lord wanted, and we should admire Joseph and follow his sensitive example. Tomorrow we continue by looking at the shepherds, but for that you'll have to come back. See you later.